I wish I can explain it so much and so, like really better. Why? Because when something that is holy, pure, and spiritual, and is of God, and is from God and by God, I always feel like that even on this level in life, no matter how deep what God teach us and bring us to, there's so much in depth of understanding that only comes from God. Within saying that is dying to self. If you can just see this, if you can just look at Jesus, if you can just look at the eyes of Jesus, just look at Jesus. If you have read the Bible, read about Jesus, you will see that those who follow Jesus in the scripture, they left home, they left family, they left everything. And if you can understand the revelation of that, I'm not saying that you should leave your family, leave home, or leave anything. But if you can understand, now some people God did call, and that happened. Time after time after time. But to follow Christ, you have to deny yourself. You have to deny yourself. You have to experience dying to your flesh, the deeds of your body, or you will become a Christian or a believer. You'll become a Christian or believer, and you will be self-reliant. That's not of God. You'll have in one part of your life, in one part of your brain, that God gave you a gift and you need to do all that you need to do. Then on the other part, you will cry out to God and say, Lord, not my will, but thy will. But you don't understand the nature, the old nature is where self is still reluctant to be there. It's there. The deeds of the body is still there. The deeds, which means me, myself, and I, it still exists. So when Jesus started, one of his first doctrine, the intro of his doctrine was, you must deny self to follow me. If the church would have been teaching this years ago, it wouldn't tell how powerful the church would be abroad. A lot of these ministers that you're seeing falling from grace, this is actually what the Bible said, the great falling away. This right here would have never came about, but God knew it was going to come about, because generation after generation, people preach power. I'm telling you, they had their own ministry, they had their own concert, they had their own revivals without God. You cannot serve God and you're not practicing denying self. You just can't do it. You just can't serve God and practice denying yourself only when you're going through something, or you're trying to get a breakthrough because something that is going on in your life. This is mandatory. Your new nature, it would starve. It would starve to death without the spirituality of dying to self, being a continuous practice, a continuous action in a believer's life. To follow Jesus is no way that you oppose him like Peter. He told Peter, you would surely lie. You surely would lie. You will reject me. You will denounce me. And he said the cock will crow 3 times. You will deny me 3 times. So how do people deny it 3 times or deny him at all? And they spent time with him. They was around him. It's because of self. It was because of self. Self is when you're sitting there and God is telling you to do it this way. And you see it, but you don't want to do it that way. And you're a believer. God tell you to be still or be patient, you can't do it. It's because you can't do something spiritual when you haven't been practicing how to die. Because you got to understand, the only way you're going to be able to perform something spiritual, to follow God and to follow his word, to follow what he is saying to you in the now. The only way is going to be when you have practiced dying to self. Following Christ is denying self. This is the only way that God can have you to access him. You can't access God because Christ has died. You cannot access God because of the blood or because of grace. You cannot access God like that. You got to understand, when these things have been put in place, then you must understand to follow Christ is to access God. To follow the ways of Christ. He is the way, the truth, and the life. To access God, you must deny self. You must understand that doctrine. You must understand that teaching. I'm telling you this. I understand. This has not been taught about or taught in the church as being a doctrine. I understand that. But see, the thing is, only God knows the hearts of men and women. He knows when they are not going to accept it. He knows they're not going to receive it. So what God would do, he would blind them to it. He'll let them go. And he'll judge them. He'll judge them when the time of judgment, because he already know he's not going to waste his time sending somebody. You might say, well, he would send them to the sinners. What I'm trying to get you to understand, without there being those who are called salt of the earth, God is not going to waste his time sending if there's no salt of the earth, unless he's sending to judgment, to judge the earth, to judge the church, to condemn the church for its action and for its belief, for its following itself. So it's many things that manifest about that. There's many things that is so clear in the name of Christ. It's so many things so clear in his ways, in his voice, in his teaching. Listen, everybody's is supposed to be built off the teachings of God. But there is order. There is an order. And a lot of ministers has failed the order. A lot of them. And this is the reason why they get proud. They got pride. And this is what they will argue. I don't have pride like the world. But you can have pride in Christ. Of being a good speaker, being somebody saying, oh, he's good and he's a holy man. And somehow you can be moved inside your own self, a little pride. And God forbids that. It has to be a death to self. Because God knows where pride is, Satan is going to dominate. Satan is going to dominate people's lives. And he's going to use them as agents. He's going to find, he's going to find where they are, how can you say, it's like he will put them around a circle of people who will make them feel good about themselves, that will make them reverence him. And listen to this. It doesn't have to be where they worship him like a god. It can be a silent. Oh, I love my pastor, and everything, and I wouldn't, and stuff like that. I'm gonna tell you something. You can love someone, but there's a way to love someone when you're dying to self. And some people say, well, I don't put them before God. I don't put them before God. I don't put my pastor before God. I don't put my the prophets and all this stuff before God. God will reveal that. He will reveal that. He knows more than anybody, because you gotta understand, it's putting him first. It's putting God first. So God will be the one that revealed to a person, you have put this person first. You have put this church first. You have put things first before me. You don't read, but you'll listen. You don't pray, but you'll listen to this person. You don't have a relationship with me. Your relationship is based off this person having a relationship with me. God will reveal it. And it's amazing, because this right here has messed up a lot of people, a lot of families. They don't understand how they let Satan come in. Oh, how did this happen? How this happened? They don't understand. Satan walk around like a roaring lion to demolish, to destroy believers' life, believers' faith. When Jesus is so beautiful, his steps are so beautiful. His steps are so beautiful. When he came to John the Baptist, John and Andrew, they just followed him. And that was the will of God. They never went back. They never went back to John. They never went back. Never even thought about going back. Because in their heart, if you want God, you're going to deny yourself. You're going to deny yourself, or you're going to seek God to help you deny yourself, so you'll follow him, so you'll know his ways, so you won't build your ministry, your faith, your belief off a mixture of yourself and the words in the Bible. And that will become proud. It'll be a different pride. It'll be a righteous pride. They call it self-righteous. And you might not even feel it. You might not even know it. But because you are not practicing death to self, it's there. It's there. It's no doubt. It's the residue of this world is there somehow. It's some type of, you sit around, and if somebody don't call your name, somebody forget to put you if you have something in church, they forget to put you on the flyer or with this, and then you cussing and you acting like this, and you're mad, and you want to get this person kicked off, and all this stuff like that's going on. It's no way that God can teach you. There's no way God can chastise you. God can only chastise someone who is yielded. So if you have the attitude that God can yield you, then he can chastise you. You say, well, what you mean that I have the attitude? I thought God changed me. Well, guess what? You have to have the desire. If God changed you, you have the desire. If you say God changed, you have the desire. If you go back and read, you see that many people said that they was for God and about God and this and that, but they wasn't desiring righteousness. They wasn't desiring righteousness. They wasn't desiring holiness, which means after God now, not after the organization. Don't desire holiness after an organization. You desire holiness after God. This is what a vessel is used to reincite what God is saying in that moment. So think about this, meditate on this, and I'm gonna send some more out here. But I want you to really catch this, because the Spirit of God is moving And he's not moving in the way of man. He's moving in the way of spirit. And you cannot catch it if you're in self. If you're not desiring to come out of self, some of you probably have been in self for so long and part of the church, and you're hearing this. Now you're hearing this, and you're saying to yourself, I'm hearing you, and I know it sounds true and everything, but I've been doing it this way and that way and everything. Well, guess what? God is revealing to you that you have been living so much in self-righteous. You have to be pat on the back in church. If somebody don't recognize you, you'll leave the church, or you'll get mad, you piss a fit. That's not of God. And I'm trying to get you to understand. It comes because of not dying to self. I'm trying to tell you, some people believe that they are going to have such errors in their life, and they are covered by grace, and they're not growing. They're going to have they're not growing out of those errors. And those errors are small. We got to get over the small ones so we can get over the big ones. This is a blessing. Listen, I'll talk to you in a minute. God bless you.